I have a question for you, a relatable one, I hope.
Okay.
Have you ever walked into a room, crossed the threshold, and then just stood there, completely blank, because you have absolutely no idea why you're
Oh,
there?
the famous doorway effect. All the time.
Hmm.
It happens to the best of
It
us.
does. Or you're in a big meeting, a really high stakes one, and you turn to introduce a colleague you've known for years, and suddenly,
Yeah.
just nothing.
Just
Stat.
white noise where their name used to be. Yeah.
And that's the modern nightmare, isn't it? And we usually just shrug and say, oh, I'm just getting older, or I just have a bad memory.
Right,
You
yeah.
treat it like it's this fixed thing, like your eye color. You either have a good one or you don't.
We assume it's the hardware,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't upgrade it.
Yeah.
But today, we are going to completely dismantle that belief.
Yes, we are.
We're doing a deep dive into a manual called Brain and Memory by Samir Burrell. And I want to be clear right from the start. This is not some dry academic textbook. No, and that's what makes it so interesting. Baral is Nepal's first memory athlete. He's recognized by the International Association of Memory.
Which I have to admit, memory athlete sounds like a job title someone made up.
It does sound like it, doesn't it? But it's a very real, very intense world. These are people who train their brains to do things like memorize, 10 shuffled decks of cards in minutes.
That's just wild.
And Baral's whole point in this book is that he's not a genius. He wasn't born with some special gift. He's just a guy who, read the user's manual for his own brain.
So that's our mission for this deep dive. We are going to open that manual. We'll trace Baral's journey from being a pretty frustrated student to a national competitor.
We'll get into the science of neuroplasticity, which sounds complicated, but it's actually really empowering.
And then we're going to teach you the actual techniques, the mental gymnastics.
We're talking memory palaces, the secret codes for numbers, all of it.
And maybe most importantly for everyone listening, we'll talk about how you can actually apply this stuff to stop drowning in all the digital noise of modern life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because if you can't hold information in your head, you can't think deeply about it, you're just passing data through.
So let's start with him, with Samir Burrell. Because you hear national memory champion, and you picture a kid who memorized the encyclopedia for fun.
You'd think so.
Oh.
But the most encouraging part of this book is his origin story. He says very clearly he was not a prodigy.
Not at all.
No. As a teenager in Nepal, he was just frustrated.
Yeah.
He describes that feeling of staring at formulas, at dates, and just trying to brute force them into his brain.
The old stare and repeat method.
Exactly. And he felt like he was, in his words, working harder, but not getting smarter, like his brain was the bucket with a hole in it.
I think everyone listening can relate to that feeling that the effort is there, but the retention just isn't.
He was completely stuck, and the catalyst, the moment that changed everything for him, was a YouTube video.
Of course it was.
He saw a memory athlete memorize a shuffled deck of cards in under a minute.
52 cards, in order, in less than 60 seconds.
Right, and his first reaction wasn't inspiration, it was skepticism. He thought, is this magic? Is this a trick? Is it fake?
I mean, I would have thought the same thing. It feels like a magic trick.
But then he had this thought, if that person is human and they can do it, then maybe it's not magic. Maybe it's just a skill, a technique.
So he went down the rabbit hole.
He did. But, and I love that he puts this in the book, it wasn't some overnight success.
No, he talks about failing a lot. He tried to build these memory palaces that would just collapse. He'd mix up his numbers.
Which is so important to hear. He says it wasn't about talent. It was about testing, adjusting, and trying again. And eventually, he hit a milestone, memorizing 100 digits in under 5 minutes.
That's incredible. And that led him to compete, eventually representing Nepal in the Indian National Memory Championship.
And he brought home a trophy. But the real takeaway from his journey isn't the medal. He says it was about building confidence and possibility. It changed how he saw every challenge, not just memory contests.
So he proved it works. But how does it work? Let's get into the science. He uses this term neuroplasticity. We hear it a lot, but what does he actually mean by it?
So neuroplasticity is basically the brain's ability to physically rewire itself.
Physically?
Physically.
Yeah.
He uses this great analogy of a violinist. If you scan the brain of a professional violinist, the part of the brain that controls their left hand, the one doing all the complex finger work, is physically larger and denser than in a non-musician.
So your brain actually grows like a muscle.
Exactly. It's not a fixed hard drive. It's living tissue that responds to exercise. He calls it a garden. What you water grows, what you ignore withers.
Okay, so if the brain is a garden, why did the plants die? Why do we forget?
Well, the book touches on a few things like decay or interference, but the big one is a lack of cues, a trigger. We can't find the information because we don't have the right hook to pull it out.
And the strongest hook is emotion.
Emotion. The amygdala, which is your emotion center, is wired directly to the hippocampus, your memory center. That's why you can remember some random, scary moment from 10 years ago perfectly, but you can't remember what you ate for lunch last Tuesday.
Lunch was boring. The scary thing was not.
Exactly. He has this funny example. He asks, why do we remember an image of a tiny ninja doing karate inside a cell better than the word mitochondria?
Because mitochondria is just a word, but a tiny ninja is a whole story.
Right. It's weird, it has action, it's funny. That emotion is the glue for the memory.
Which is a perfect lead-in to the first actual technique, because it seems like all of this starts with one thing: visualization.
It does. The brain thinks in pictures, not abstract concepts. So the first step is to turn everything into an image. But they can't be boring images. They have to follow the rule of absurdity.
The rule of absurdity, so make it weird.
Make it funny, strange, exaggerated, violent, whatever sticks. The book gives a simple list: dog, rocket, pizza.
Okay. Dog, rocket, pizza.
Now, most people would just repeat that over and over. That's rote memory. It's weak. Baral says you should imagine a dog wearing a helmet, piloting a giant rocket that is made entirely of hot, dripping pizza slices.
A barking pizza rocket. That is ridiculous.
It's completely ridiculous, and that's exactly why you'll remember it. You've just engaged sight, sound, maybe even smell. You turn boring data into a little movie.
Okay, so that's the basic building block, making these crazy little movies, but where do you file them? That brings us to the memory palace.
The method of loci. This is ancient. The Greeks used it, and it's so much simpler than it sounds. You just take a location, perfectly like your house, and you place these crazy images at specific points along a route.
I love this idea. Let's actually walk through his example with Newton's laws of motion.
Great idea. So everyone listening, picture your own living room right now. We need to set up stations. Let's say station 1 is your sofa.
Got it.
Station 2 is your coffee table. Station 3 is your TV.
Sofa, table, TV. Okay.
So station 1, the sofa. First law. An object at rest stays at rest. I want you to look at your sofa and imagine a magician is sitting there, totally frozen. He's encased in a block of ice. He is at rest.
Okay, frozen magician on my couch. Weird, but I see it.
Station 2, the coffee table. Second law, force equals mass times acceleration. Imagine a huge, massive rhino. It's your mass charging and just completely smashing your coffee table. The force of that acceleration is destroying it.
Oh, wow. That is vivid, my poor table.
And station 3, the TV. Third law, for every action, an equal and opposite reaction. Imagine two kids are inside your TV, pushing against each other's hands. They're stuck, not moving, because their force is equal and opposite.
Okay, so now if I walk into my mental living room, I see the frozen magician on the couch. First law, the rhino smashing the table. Second law, and the kids pushing on the TV. Third law.
And just like that, you've encoded 3 scientific laws into your spatial memory. You don't have to remember the words, you just look at the couch.
It honestly feels like cheating. It's too easy.
It feels easy because you're finally working with your brain's design, not against it. Your brain evolved to remember places, not textbook definitions.
Okay, but this is where I get stuck. Numbers. A number isn't a rhino. It's just a swiggle. How do we remember a long string of numbers?
Right. This is where we get to the major system, and I'll admit this one takes a bit more practice. But it's like learning a secret spy code for numbers.
A spy code. I like it.
You learn to convert each digit, 0 through 9, into a consonant sound. Then you use those sounds to build words, which become images.
Okay, break it down.
So that number 1 looks like a straight line down, right? Like a T. So 1 is the T or D sound.
Okay.
The number 2 has 2 downstrokes, if you write it, like a lowercase n. So 2 is the N sound. The number 3 has 3 downstrokes, like an M. So 3 is the M sound.
So you're basically translating math into phonics. 1 is T, 2 is M, 3 is M.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Let's use his example. The date, 1789, the French Revolution.
Okay.
In the major system. 1 is T. 7 is a K sound. You can kind of see a K if you put 2 7s together. 8 is an F sound because a handwritten F has 2 loops like an 8, and 9 looks like a backwards P. So P or B.
So we have the sounds. T, K, F, P. That's not a word.
No, but the vowels are free. You can add any vowels you want to make a word. So for 1 and 7, T and K, you can make the word duck.
Okay, a duck.
For 8 and 9, F, B, or P, you can make the word fob, like a key fob.
1789 becomes a duck holding a fob.
Exactly. Picture a duck in a little revolutionary hat holding a key fob. Once you have that absurd image, It's locked in. You see the duck, your brain decodes it back to TKFB, which is 1789.
I see. So instead of struggling with the number, you just remember the cartoon. It definitely sounds like it takes practice.
That's like learning an alphabet.
Yeah.
But once you're fluent, it's instant. You see a number and your brain just gives you an image.
Okay, so we have the pictures, the palace, the code. But I want to pivot to the so what factor. A lot of our listeners are busy professionals dealing with what Baral calls digital amnesia.
This is such a critical point in the book. He calls it attention erosion. We've outsourced our memory to our phones. We don't know phone numbers. We don't know directions. We don't know our own schedules.
Isn't that just efficient? I mean, Einstein supposedly said, never memorize what you can look up.
But that quote is popular, but Baral argues it's really dangerous now. It's efficient for storage, maybe, but not for thinking. When you stop using your memory, you lose the ability to focus. Attention, he says, is the new currency. You can't connect the dots if all the dots are stored out in the cloud.
That hits home. So how does a busy executive use these techniques to get an edge, let's say, for a big presentation?
Oh, this is a game changer. Most people read from notes or slides. They look down, they lose the room. Baral says, use a memory palace. The boardroom itself is your palace. Place your introduction, maybe an image of a firm handshake at the door. Place your Q1 financial data on the coffee machine. Put your big product reveal on the main conference table.
So you're just looking around the room and the speech is just there.
Exactly. You look confident, you're making eye contact because you're literally just reading the room. You can't lose your place because the coffee machine is always right there.
That's a power move. What about names? That's the big one for networking.
Immediate association.
Yeah.
The second you meet someone, you meet a guy named Mike, don't just nod. In your head, picture him holding a giant microphone.
Okay.
You meet someone named Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
Picture her singing a serenade. It has to be instant and a little weird. You have to do it right then and there. It forces you to be present.
So it's not just a memory trick, it actually makes you a better listener.
It has to. You can't memorize what you didn't pay attention to in the first place.
So just to recap the toolkit here. 1. Believe your brain can actually change. Neuroplasticity is real.
Yes. 2. Visualize everything and use that rule of absurdity. Make it strange.
3. Use locations. Build a memory palace, even just for your grocery list.
And 4. Practice. Treat it like going to the gym, but for your brain.
And 5, I guess, is to use it to reclaim your attention from your devices.
That's the ultimate goal. He makes this beautiful point near the end about legacy.
What does he say?
He says, your memory is your legacy. Think about it. Your values, your stories, the lessons you've learned, they only exist inside your memory. If you outsource it all, what's actually yours?
That's deep. It's not just about productivity, it's about identity.
It is. He says to use technology for storage, but your brain for internalization. You want wisdom inside you, not just accessible in the cloud.
I think he's right. When everyone has an AI that can spit out facts, the person who actually knows the material, who has the context in their head, that's the most valuable person in the room.
Absolutely. The machine gives you data. Your memory gives you wisdom.
So, to wrap up, Samir Burrell's book, Brain and Memory, is this fantastic reminder that we are all capable of so much more than we think.
It really is. And I'll leave you with the question he poses at the end. It's for everyone listening. He asks, if you lost your phone today, if the cloud just vanished, how much of your own life would you actually remember?
Oof.
And what is the one thing you want to ensure you never, ever forget?
Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
See you next time.